the Death Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 158 of The Usual Podcast, a podcast where we discuss Star Wars The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, and with me, after God knows how long, is my co-host, Will. What's up, buddy? Welcome back.
I'm walking through the desert on a horse with no name.
Oh, God. You start by singing? Wow.
I had to bring back the greatest hits. No, it's been so long. It's like I've been walking out in the desert.
Well, I'm glad to have you back, man. If you're in the chat, audio issues might be an issue with Mr. Griggs. But he's back and with us again. Also talking about people being back is Mr. John Skeen. Thank you for being here, sir. How the hell are you?
I'm doing great. My pleasure to be here. And I've taken my horse down to Old Town Road. But go ahead.
God, so much horse talk to start the show. I don't know if I can do this.
That was a rap song, dude. You should get that reference.
Guys, I get it. I just didn't know that we were going there. That's all it was, okay? Anyway, when we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages, and God knows I need one. Will, what are you drinking?
You know, unfortunately, I'm still on a very meager budget, so I'm drinking a Diet Pepsi right now.
All right. That's all right. I'll forgive you. John, what do you got?
It is late, and I'm going to go to bed right after this. So I'm just sticking with iced tea this evening. So
right.
I apologize. Yep.
No.
So
you're
hopefully
good,
you're gonna bring something to the party here.
I'm gonna bring some to the party, and I'm trying to cut back a little bit too, especially pre-Comic-Con. Although I am drinking a beverage, I was just at a golf tournament in Monterey, and one of my favorite spots to stop is called Peter B's Brewery, and they got great food, really good beers, and I got one of these big ass those aluminum can growler dealies. And this is their double IPA, and it is, I don't remember what it's called. Hold on a second. Oh, it's a grapefruit IPA, double IPA. So it's fruity and delicious, and I have 32 ounces to drink, so that'll be the end of my night. So
I will say I was in Paso Robles, California last week with my brother who's listening right now. Hey, Steve, and he took me to a new brewery in Paso. It's called California Coast Brewery, and they actually had they had a Belgian white that I drank that was all right. I'd say I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. Actually, I did give it a 3 out of 5 on Untapped. But Steve was drinking this. Steve, you might be able to write it in the chat room if you remember. But it was like a chocolatey. I call it like a chocolatey Newcastle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it almost tasted nitro infused, but I couldn't tell. But it actually was pretty good. I would have given that a good 3 3/4 out of 5.
Was it a stout? Because it might have been on the lines of like a Old Rasputin or something.
I've never had an Old Rasputin, so I don't know. But it was.
Well, they use the nitrous kind of like Guinness does.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a stout. I honestly don't remember exactly what it was.
It is what it is.
But it was tasty.
Good. Well, so I haven't done this in a while either. Before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Spotify, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will is at IMO Griggs. And John Skeen is John R. Skeen on the Twitters. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, all your favorite place to get our podcast. You can get it. So do it. One quick announcement on our stores page. If you want to get merch from us, our PUCT 4 shirts are up. I got up into a weird little hiccup with those. I was trying to buy the PUCT 4 shirts for me, you, and Nick. And, what the issue was, if you rush it, you have to buy them all individually. So I have to do that. But I got to get it here in time, for our PUCT 4 Cantina, which I will talk about that more.
Okay,
so
3 things. 1, as soon as you start going to the spiel, I've got the biggest smile on my face.
Why?
Because we're podcasting again, boy. Okay. Come on.
Well, I'm glad you're smiling.
2, you said Google Plus, and dude,
even
Google.
Shoot. I meant to take that out of there.
Yeah, even Google doesn't have Google Plus anymore.
I know. Okay, so I forgot to, update our outline. Sorry. It's been a while.
And 3,
Is this all
I'm going to put
corrections, or?
I'm going to put the whole shirts thing on you because I had the shirts up and running at the beginning of June. So
No. Here's the thing. The shirts have been available. We just haven't podcasted, and I haven't bought them yet. So,
okay. Well, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to Jessie Stardust, one of our favorites, because she took my design and then just made it Uber because she did it into vector design and everything, and so she really made the design. Yeah, she really made the design look clear, but the concept's all mine. I'll take credit for that. But just to give her the correct address, because I haven't been able to connect it to the actual usual podcast store on Teespring because they made things a little bit difficult in that respect. So just go to teespring.com/PUCT4.
Yeah, and I put the link to that in the show notes.
Awesome.
Cool, man. All right, so we have the timestamps in the show notes. If you're not a SWTOR fan, it has been a while. We are going to not skip over SWTOR, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on SWTOR because people have been playing. There's a new update. Things are happening. Level cap increase, all kinds of stuff happening, but I haven't been playing much, but, we haven't been reporting about it. So we're going to talk about it.
True that.
And I'm excited about talking about it with you guys because I know you guys, some of you have been playing and I haven't. But here we go. Thanks to everybody who is in the chat room, Steve, and everybody else who's there. Thank you. Tune in, chime in, say hi. Let us know what's going on while we go. So at the top of the show, as always, drinking buddies. What did you put in there, you knucklehead? Where in the world is Will been? Who put that in there? Anyway.
I did.
Oh, well, you're talking about yourself. So here we are. Anyway, our drinking buddies.
Will talks about himself in the third person when he feels self-important.
Okay. So anyway, our drinking buddies, of course, Zen, big supporter of the show. Also Eddie and Mr. John Skeen, of course. And thanks to everybody who does contribute to the show. I know Patreon has been in flux for the last few months, and we promise in the next month or so we're going to get back to it, and it's going to be great.
Give it a month and a half, because that's when I'm... Yeah, give it a month and a half because talking about where in the world has Will been, I just want to give a quick recap of my last 6 months.
Let's see if I can. There. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Well, there was no other real place to put it in the show. So let's see if I can do it in 90 seconds. I got laid off from my job because they eliminated my position. I went and visited Seattle so I could go see there for Christmas. And then I drove to St. Louis and ripped out the underside of my RV in Idaho in a mud bog. And then I was in St. Louis during the big, huge 10.5-inch snowstorm. 5 degree below zero weather, and then I went from St. Louis to LA and I bought a Disneyland annual pass so I could go to Star Wars Celebration, or not Celebration, but Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Went to that, and then I went to Disneyland probably about 20 times in a month and a half, which was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Then I went up to the Central Coast.
You saw me too. You saw me.
Yeah, sorry. I celebrated Marshall's birthday at Split Ends at the Downtown Disney, which was awesome. And then went up to the Central Coast, still couldn't find work, unemployment ran out, decided to move to the Central Valley, came to the Central Valley, found work, wasn't here, it's back in Fort Bragg, I'll be there first week of August. Was that 90 seconds?
Wow.
Give or take.
Holy smokes.
I don't know. I lost John's video, but in the meantime, so maybe it was more than 90 seconds, but...
And I did that freestyle, yo. I didn't even have that planned out.
Don't say yo. You haven't been back long enough for yo yet, okay?
Yo, MTV reps.
Okay. So anyway, Will, I'm glad you have been out, about, back and forth, and you're here tonight. This is great. Should we talk about Star Wars The Old Republic?
I do want to say really quick that Steve did answer, and it was a brown stout, 5.2%, 24 IBU.
Nice. That sounds good.
That's actually pretty bitter for me.
Yeah?
That's bitter for you.
No, that's pretty light.
Not for me.
Well, for you, yeah, I guess.
I'm a lightweight when it comes to bitterness.
A low pucker factor.
Yeah, this doesn't say it.
Because you get most of your bitters from hops, and as Marshall knows, and all of our listeners knows, I'm not a hops guy. I mean, I trip on the lettering on a credit card.
Okay. I guess I knew what I was getting into, but I guess I wasn't fully prepared.
Y'all missed me.
It's good to have Will back.
We did miss you, dude. We did miss you.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you're sitting actually 4 feet from me and doing this, so that'll be fun again.
God, I so can't wait. I missed that. didn't realize how badly I've missed it since I've been gone.
That's the thing that's missing in your life, dude.
It really is.
So anyway, thanks for the update. We're glad you're on your way and doing things, and we're always here for you, man. So I'm glad you're glad you're where you're at. I'm glad I'll help you get to where you're going. So, yes,
I do have one more quick announcement, but I'll be down in Podcast Corner,
which we haven't done in like 3 years. But let's move on.
Excuse me.
I know, I'm joking. I'll give you time to pimp your shit. Don't worry. All right. Here we are. So, community shoutouts. We're in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you if you will only kneel.
Our San Diego Comic-Con people. Like, I am amped. I'm amped. We were 3 weeks from San Diego Comic-Con. So we have a ton of stuff planned. If you don't listen to my other podcast, you may have not got an update on this, but we got a big house. So we got a house for our San Diego Comic-Con folks. We're going to do a D&D game. We've got PUCT 4, of course, happening on Friday night of Comic-Con around 5 o'clock at Mission Brewing Company, which I'm super stoked about. We're going to be streaming that again this year. I am going to have twice as many microphones this year, which I'm excited about as well. It is going to be a really good time. I think, audio quality and video quality, all that is going to be top notch this year. Fingers crossed. And, recently announced, which I have later in this section, which we can talk about later as well, but the SWTOR Cantina is also happening on Saturday this year. So SWTOR is coming back to San Diego Comic-Con after, I want to say 4 years hiatus. I think it's 3. When was, the first Darren DePaul expansion with the, Knights of the Fallen,
Knights of the Fallen Empire?
Knights of the Fallen Empire.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2016. No, 2016.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's been at least 3 years.
Yeah, so because I haven't seen Darren DePaul at Comic-Con for 3 years. So
right, and so they're coming back, and it's gonna be great. And they're gonna do a big Cantina event. We plan to stream that as well. I've been working with Kid Lee and Sorterista on the logistics of that as well. So I think tentatively what we're planning on doing is streaming the staged part and the Q&A part, and then kind of setting up somewhere with a mic and having people come over, whether it be devs or players, and chatting.
Smart way to go.
And chatting with the chat room on wherever we're streaming to. So more details to come. But
actually, really sorry to interrupt here.
No, you're fine.
A cool idea dude, our timing is way off. Just because we haven't podcasted in a while.
Well, there's a little delay too.
Yeah, well, a good idea for that might actually be to cycle through content creators too, because it doesn't have to be just you and Sorterista. If you guys are breaking, we can cycle in, Stardust. We can cycle in Will.
Point.
We can cycle in, anybody. So
yeah, and I think that's going to be a good thing. So thanks for that suggestion. I think that's going to be perfect. And having people,
talk to Musco and hashtag new hat for Will.
Oh, yeah, you got to start. I've been talking to him a bit. We got swag coming, of course, for the Cantina, our Cantina event. So if you're in San Diego Comic-Con and you want to come hang out with some SWTOR content creators and just all around geeks, PUCT 4 is happening. You get your t-shirt, come and hang out. It's going to be great. One more community thing I want to put up there, and trust me, I'll be coming back to the PUCT stuff and the Comic-Con stuff. Meet the community content creators, is a thing they're doing on SWTOR.com. And this latest one was SWTOR Escape Podcast with Max and Seema, who are awesome
Max
folks.
and Seema are fantastic. Yeah, it's great. These are this is the third iteration that they've been doing of this. Yeah. And what was it? It was Sorterista and Volk were the first two?
Yeah, Volk was the first one, I think, and then Sorterista.
So they're picking some fantastic content creators. So make sure you guys support these people because they do great work.
Absolutely. All right, John. So I'm going to start with you, because your name's not in here, and I decided to not let Will speak for a moment, to be a jerk. What have you been doing week in game, dude? Any SWTOR?
No SWTOR.
Okay.
But to be honest, life has been extremely busy with...
Tell me about it.
Ubering children everywhere and camps and summer gym and marching band, and it's just been nuts. But the plan, and I've also been writing a complete new training manual top to bottom for my company.
Oh my God, dude, that's insane.
That is done with my editing, so that makes me happy. So
awesome.
Now I actually have some time. Thanks. Now I'll have some time to actually, play. So
kick ass, dude.
Yeah, that'll start up next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping to play a little bit this weekend and early next week before I work a bunch over the 4th of July weekend. But yeah, man, the daddy Uber train is real. It's legit real and crazy.
Absolutely.
So hats off to you. You're a good dad. Keep it up.
Thanks. You're a good dad too. I see your pictures.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Will, what have you been doing in game?
Well, just really quick, I'm not a good cat dad because my cat hates this hot weather here, and he has been not in a good mood with me for a while.
Well, cats are fickle.
They are fickle beings. I actually have been able to play the last couple of weeks, which has been way out of the norm because I haven't been able to play for months. But I had finished Ossus when Ossus first came out, so I was able to go right into Dantooine. And I love Dantooine. I really do like this expansion. I'm about 10% done with the achievements on it. I haven't been able to find any of the culinary stuff, any of the food stuff you're supposed to be able to find around it.
Right.
Because they have really long respawn timers from what I understand, and none of it is available when I go around. So maybe if I give it a little bit, I'll be able to do it. But I've gone through I've done most of the actually, I think I've done all of the available dailies over the 2 weeks, and
nice.
I just haven't been able to do any of the heroics because nobody I know has been on when I'm on, and I can't actually solo these heroics. So
yeah, I heard the heroics were going to be true to their number. Which I was
trying to do the 2+ heroic, which you infiltrate the pirates, and they end up having a walker you've got to beat. And I was able to get to the walker, but I can't solo the walker.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that was a little tough, but it's been fun. I really enjoyed it. I like the looks of it. I'm hoping to upgrade the RAM on my computer soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get off of very low settings.
Good.
Ultimately, I would like to buy a desktop that will actually run the game that's 7 years old that I like to play. But
If only.
If only, but we shall see. But that's basically what I've been doing in game.
Nice, dude.
All right, well, if either of you ever want to group up, just hit me up. Just send me a text message. We'll jump on.
Yeah, tomorrow tomorrow might be my day to play a bit. I don't have a lot of plans, as many plans as I did today, tomorrow, except, starting in the afternoon, I might be okay. So
yeah, if we can play in the afternoon, I can do that. I have to do some work on my RV in the morning, but I would love to maybe meet up and do some Dantooine content tomorrow.
Nice. All right. Sounds like a plan
the
to
one
me.
thing, really quick about meeting up with John, I'm actually just a little bit bitter that he and I weren't able to meet up when I was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That sounds like your problem.
That was kind of tough.
It was just bad weather, and I wasn't able to get out anywhere because we were only, an hour and a half away?
3
Oh, 3 hours.
Still, yeah, it's not that bad.
The way I drive. And then,
I was blaming you, Will, not John, because John's a stand-up guy, and I don't know.
You know what's actually funny? One thing, while I was in St. Louis, I got approved for press passes for Archon, which is St. Louis's Comic-Con, because, they have the St. Louis Arch. And so it's called Archon.
Oh, that's cool.
And, but it ended up being the week after I ended up leaving. And so I wasn't able to go.
Oh, well, it happens.
But I am approved, so I could go back next year if I wanted.
Cool, man. All right. So what did I do? Since everybody wants to know.
Yeah. What did you do?
What did I do? I finally finished Ossus, and I was really happy with myself. I logged in and I powered through it, and I got there. What's been kind of deterring me a little bit is, I don't know what it is. First of all, because of that event we did months and months ago, my main is not in the guild. And so that's been bothering me, and nobody's been on to invite me, which is fine. And then the other thing about, SWTOR that's been a little bit, I don't know, kind of bugging me a little bit is my UI is all jacked up, and I don't know what happened. I don't know, I lost my save file or something. And it's like looking at my screen is not the way, I don't know. I got to figure it out. And that's on me, though. I mean, this is a personal problem, but I did.
That sounds like
finish
your problem.
Oasis. Yeah, exactly. I have been playing a lot of the Nintendo Switch though, because my daughter got that for Christmas, and I just secretly download things at night, and then I play them at night after they go to bed. So I have been playing Mortal Kombat 11, which is insanely fun. That game is over the top, ridiculously gratuitous violence, and just so much fun to play. It is
Can you
a
rip out a
blast.
spine again?
Dude, a ripping. I mean, so they have this thing, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. They have this thing called, they're like power moves, like in most fighting games, you know?
Right.
And
Combo moves,
yeah, they're
Finish
combo moves,
him.
but they're more than that. It's almost like a fatality in the middle of a match. And so, like, for example, like, this one girl, she'll throw out these chain things, throw them through your eyes, pull you forward, stomp them into your eyes again, throw you up, throw you back down, and then like axe you and then drag. It's insane. It's like, and then you get up again, and it's just
And that's
so,
in the middle of the fight?
It's in the middle of the fight. It's so over the top and hilarious and fun as hell. I love it. So I've been playing that. I've been playing Civ 6 because I'm obsessed with that, and I love Civ 6. And I've been playing Stardew Valley on the Switch, which I just got to tell you guys, don't ever start playing this game. It's the most addictive thing. I'm thinking about it now. Like, when I'm off of this, I'm going to go play Stardew Valley. Like, I have stuff I want to do. It's disgusting how addictive the game is. It's not, it looks like a farming sim, but it's way, 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 way more than that. And it's super in-depth and cool and fun, and I love it. And it's like...
Is it only on the Switch, or is it on
No, it's
PC?
on PC too, and it's super cheap, and it's a blast, but it's like, it's like 8-bit kind of top-down kind of thing. It's so fun, dude. I can't even tell you. It's super fun. So I've been playing a lot of really small games, mostly suggested by, Sanspans does a Thumb Cramps, Patreon kind of thing. And they just throw out these things, and I'm like, oh, I want to play that game. And then I play it, and I was like, damn it, Sanspans. Now I'm playing this game. And I should be playing SWTOR because I'm a dedicated SWTOR player.
That's a great name for a gaming podcast.
Damn it, Sanspans.
No, thumb cramps.
Yeah.
Oh, Thumb Cramps. Oh, it's amazing. And it's
But
like,
honestly, you need to do Damn It Sanspants as a response. You like, whenever they come out with new content,
yeah,
you do a Damn It Sanspants response podcast.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. That's a great idea. Okay, so anyway,
I will say, if anybody gets bored,
yeah,
you can jump on Marvel Puzzle Quest, because I have a tendency to
Dude,
play
you
that
just
one.
read my mind.
When I'm waiting in the car, that's like my time to play Marvel Puzzle Quest on my phone.
I've been playing Galaxy of Heroes again.
Dude, okay, Skeen just read my mind, because I wanted to give a quick shout out to Skeen, because I started this guild or is it called a guild? What is it called? An alliance.
An alliance, yeah.
Yeah, so I started this alliance then Marvel Puzzle Quest, because if you go back to a few Comic-Cons ago, Car and I actually interviewed, or no, it might have been just me, interviewed the guy, the developer for Marvel Puzzle Quest, and a really cool guy. Gave a whole bunch of free swag and stuff, and so that was cool. But I gave head of the alliance over to Skeen, and he has just done such a great job, because I haven't played as much as, I try to come back for the big events, and I've been playing daily lately, which is great because I'm having a lot more fun. But he's done a great job with recruiting and making sure we have full teams, and says everybody, the event's coming up, and so I just want to give a big shout out to Skeen. You've done a great job.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. But you're still in control of the thing. I'm just talking to people. That's it.
Nah, it's you.
Well, I'm just sad because people were playing the other game, and then I decided, I'll play the other game again, and then now everybody's back to Marvel Puzzle Quest, so that's cool.
You're still in it. So.
Yeah, no, I'm in it. I'm just gonna pretend like everybody's including me, and it's fine. It's fine.
I have been playing I will say I've been playing the Disney Battle Heroes game.
Oh my god.
Which I love. It's very similar to Marvel Puzzle. Well, it's not a match 3 like Marvel Puzzle Quest. It's more like, it's actually almost identical to Galaxy of Heroes. But it's Disney, and they just released Goofy, and so I've been upping Goofy on it, and it's really, really fun. And I've been playing that one, and then there's a Looney Tunes version of that game too, which is oddly addicting.
Okay, I can't play any more games.
So those are the 2 games I've been playing mostly.
Nope. Can't play any more games. All right.
Stardew Valley?
Let's actually talk about the game we're all supposed to be playing. Star Wars The Old Republic. And so real quick, just a few things that I'm going to throw out there. And again, I'm just glossing over this stuff. Obviously, the latest game update, Dantooine Incursion, has come out since we recorded last, 5.10.3, which I hear there was a lot of bug fixes and stuff like that. I'm not going to go through all of that. But somebody is asking about Renown, and asking if the Renown is a max level supplementary gearing system, etc. And they're saying that's going to start level 75. And that's not until the Onslaught expansion, right? Or is the level increase already?
No, not until Onslaught.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, okay. So I know Onslaught is the big thing they're gearing up towards, the big expansion that's coming, which is what they're coming to San Diego Comic-Con to talk about, right? Dantooine Incursion, I'm going to bring up the patch notes on that. There's a new planet, Dantooine, and new in-game event, the Pirate Incursion, which is basically saying, there's some story stuff in there as well. New daily and heroic missions, which Will was talking about earlier. New planetary transitions, with some of the planets. Their arrivals have been updated, which is fine. This event had mostly to do with the story and continuing with Dantooine and stuff like that. Double XP. Nightlife is back, which is great. And they made some other changes here as well. So conquest points, they've adjusted some things there, and I don't see there's nothing else on that level. So Onslaught is when the big expansion is coming, when you're going to get to level up. But I think this question has to do with that. It has to do with when are you going to start getting renown, and that has to do with when you get to level 75. Okay.
Right.
There was also the May PvP report, which is crazy. I love the fact that they're actually putting out here. They said, and we talked about this last time we recorded this game, which I thought was funny because Nick was here, and he's like, "What?" And it's like, in May we caught and punished 18 accounts for win trading or cheating in PvP. They suspended the accounts for a week, zeroed out all their ranked ratings of every character on those accounts, and removed all of their ranked PvP reward tokens.
I love that they announced it.
Dude, yep. I love that they're just, not only are they doing it, but they're telling us how many and what they're doing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, they're doing basically everything short of naming the accounts.
Yeah, I would just wish they would. Be like, these guys did it. Go after them.
That's right. And the character has to wear a scarlet ass.
Yeah, exactly. They're branded for life. The Shaddaa Nightlife event is back. And I love this event. I feel like unless they've introduced anything else, looks like there are some new things coming. I don't know how much new is here.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the flip side and say I hate this event.
Well, because you just have terrible luck. I got all the achievements the first time it came around.
True.
So I haven't even done it the last 2 times.
Okay, the 2 reasons why I don't like it is actually I haven't really. I mean, I try it a little bit each year.
Yeah.
But I never grind enough to really, or play the GTN enough to really have high level of credits going into it, right? And so I really never have enough to play. But second, I still haven't gotten the damn Rancor.
I just need to send. I'm just going to send you a bunch of credits, and so you can do it.
Oh, shut up!
No, I'm just saying. You just have to. You just have to put the credits in, dude. Just do it.
Well, I think, because I actually have been saving, especially, I will take this back a couple of updates to where you can actually put credits into your guild locker. So I do love that because it makes it a lot easier to transfer credits between characters.
Yeah.
And I want to say I've got close to 10 million credits in there right now. So I think I might just finally bite the bullet.
Yeah. I'm not going to send you any credits in.
Well, let me double check before you do that. Don't go too quickly.
No, you will not get any credits. So there was an announcement today on free to play and preferred players. They've made some adjustments on, and I didn't dive into this because I've been a subscriber for, 8 years now. But they've made some changes to kind of take some of the, restrictions away from free to play and preferred, I think.
Right.
So take a look at that. I have a link in the show notes. Looks like they've increased the credit cap, an extra quick bar and medical probe and quick travel. So they've made some adjustments to
credit
some
limits
of the,
too.
Yeah, and some of the basic stuff that we have been saying that free-to-play players probably should have. They've kind of relaxed a little bit on that, which is good. I think this obviously has to do with the fact that they're trying to get more players in, and with the expansion coming up, they want people to try it out and get ready for it and
exactly.
start buying some
So
of this
here's
stuff.
a crazy question. Not even a question, I guess it's a statement. Can you imagine playing without all of those things?
Yeah, it's insane.
I know, right?
I can't.
No, it's
Like,
crazy.
how would you function?
Well,
So-
I want to say it was early on, and I think my wife was free to play, and she was playing with me, and I'm just like, wait, you don't have what? And I was
Yeah, 'cause
so
you
confused.
can't quick travel. You can't nothing.
You couldn't even sprint in the beginning as a subscriber, let alone free to play. It was crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't sprint until level 10. Remember that?
Oh
Yep.
God, that was the worst. I was like,
Whoa.
really?
Now I just don't get. Why don't they just remove walking? And
Yeah.
I guess if you wanted for RPers, I guess it makes sense to be able to walk.
Well, then you slash RP walk, you put it as an emote or something. I don't know. Anyway, so last thing I'm going to put in news-wise, because we got to move out of SWTOR. I said 10 minutes and it's been 20.
That's us on the dot.
Okay. So anyway, they had a stream for the Spoils of War, which they talked about a bunch of stuff, answered some questions, and then they are going to put it on the PTS. So Onslaught is going to show up on the PTS. They also put up the threads for the Inquisitor, set bonus feedback, assassin ability, tactical items, and the sorcerer ability and tactical items feedback as well. So let them know of that. And this was on the 20th. So get your hands on it, get in there and test it out when it's available. It's perfect. I love it.
Nice.
So Will, you kind of already talked about this already. What else can you talk about as far as the Dantooine incursion that we didn't cover already? Because that's my discussion topic. Is your thoughts on that, since John and I have not played it? And then I'm going to talk about the Cantina real quick before we get out of here.
I will say that I like it a lot better than Osis.
Okay.
For one main reason is just the design of it. Because my biggest complaint with Osis is like you had this thing that you had a big area you had to walk around, and then you had to walk through that one like gate, and then you were in there, and then you were much more constrained in the routes you could take to get to certain things, right? Which was kind of a pain. Like you had to go through that one building at the other end of the whole map area, and it's just very frustrating, especially when you had to do the things where you had to use your macro binoculars to see to scan things, because if you weren't in the right area, you were totally screwed, right? So what I like about this is just this one is just like one big area with the heroics is like side rooms going off the sides, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
And with the imps coming in on one side and the pubs coming in on the other side, and so it just makes it so much easier to do your dailies. And it's not even like you have in 4 where it's like you have the 4 main screens and you've got to like take speeders. It's just, seriously, it's one big, huge area that you just run around. And I really do kind of like that.
That's cool. All right. Well, I plan to get my hands on it in the next few days. And then by the next time we record, hopefully it'll be right before San Diego Comic-Con. We'll record again. And then I'll give you my thoughts. And then we'll get into our Cantina.
Fantastic.
And should I just go ahead and transition because I'm amazing? Just one more time, San Diego Community Cantina is happening, and that is the SWTOR official cantina. And registration.
You didn't actually say where it is, and I believe it's at the Westin, correct?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So it's just like registration and celebration, there'll be the case for events going forward. And they're basically saying you can register when you get there, but they are doing a registration system. But it is happening at the Westin, which is where they did it 3 or 4 years ago, whenever arbitrary time that was.
It's like, I want to say it's up across the street from the Balboa Theater.
And it's pretty far from the convention center. So keep in mind that if you are there for San Diego Comic-Con, it's a bit of a hike.
Uber.
I mean, we walked it. I mean, and if you're fine with walking, you can get there. It's going to take you a bit. It's on the other side of the gas lamp from the convention center. It's a beautiful building. they're going to be doing it there. They're going to do a Q&A with the development team, complimentary drinks. Usually they give you drink tokens or drink tickets, usually 1 or 2. And then they're going to do some giveaways and stuff like that and exclusive swag. So if you get there, in the past, what they do is they do like a USB drive or flash drive they give you with some content on it for the game and stuff like that. So,
oh gosh, remember the last time they were at Comic-Con though, and they didn't hand out the flash drives? The guy that had the necklace of them was so bitter.
Well, and then when they didn't do it the last time, I know that was a bummer. I've been to a ton of these things. The only cantinas I haven't been are the ones that aren't in California. I've managed to make every cantina in California. And I'm going to keep my streak. I was at the very first, SWTOR Cantina in San Diego, and that's when they held their first one.
Dude, as was I, dude, right across from the convention. Dude, that thing was tiny.
Yeah, it was like upstairs at the Hilton gas lamp.
Yeah, and it's like they took a couch and a coffee table and put 2 TVs on it and said, go ahead and play.
And right before that, they had like a Mass Effect event. It was so long. God, that was what, 8 years ago? It had to be 8 years ago, because before the game, no, 7 years ago, because it was right after the game came out, right?
Yeah, and it was, still had all the Mass Effect stuff all around the room.
Oh, it was great. So I'm really looking forward to it. This is a much different event. They'll usually rent out a ballroom, and you'll show up and they'll have a picture thing and stuff like that. It'll be good. So everybody, show up if you're there and come find us, because we will be posted up, and come talk to us for our stuff.
I will say it was that very first, community cantina though, in that upstairs room that I got my hat. And that's why it's now, 7 years later and the hat needs to be replaced.
Yeah, well, the hat needs to be replaced. So we'll work on that, Mr. Musco, since you're clearly listening. All right.
I know, right?
So let's get into our Star Wars section so we can get Mr. Skeen to sleep at some point here tonight, since we're keeping him up past his bedtime. So,
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for. Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Star Wars Celebration. I'm a little bitter. I'm going to start off with bitterness. So Star Wars Celebration Anaheim has been announced. It's in 2020. It's happening on August 27th through the 30th. It couldn't be at a worse time. And the tickets are already gone on sale. They went on sale on June 21st. And Saturday.
And they're mostly sold out.
Yeah. Well, Saturday and Friday, I know 100% are sold out already. Which is a bummer, because for me, like, I get planning ahead of time, and I get, trying to open up and, getting tickets and stuff ahead of time. But I'm a little bitter because I feel like it's a little too far away. It's over a year away. And also, in light of all these other events coming up in between now and then, I couldn't afford to just throw the money at this one as well, in the hopes I can go. August is the first month of school.
Yeah, what'd you say the dates were again?
August 27th through the 30th.
Are they doing D23 and Celebration back to back?
But again, we're talking 2020.
No, I know, but don't they do D23 every year now too?
Yeah.
And D23 for this year is the third week of August. Yeah.
Or maybe they're doing it in place of it. I don't know. And they're moving the other one.
It could be. I don't know. I'll do some research on the D23 side. We can always try for press passes.
No, and that's likely the route I will take if I'm going to even try. Because I almost pulled the trigger and I was like, I'll just buy a 1 day pass, but I'm like, how am I going to, I just didn't want to do it. And so I'm bummed, because when it's close, I really want to go. And then of course we've got Rise of Skywalker coming out and everything else. So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, when you're 12 hours of travel away, it's a little bit more difficult to pull that trigger.
Exactly. John, what are you thinking? You coming out to Cali?
I would like to come out for that, but no tickets.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes me mad is it was in Chicago this year.
Right.
And kind of the same deal. I mean, tickets went real quick. I even looked for tickets on the aftermarket, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like taking a second mortgage out on the house.
Right.
Exactly. I was in St. Louis when it happened, and I mean, you and I were trying to meet up and to go, and just economically, I couldn't make it work.
Yeah, it was pretty salty.
It's a bit of a bummer, man. And I get this is the fan base obviously warrants having this happen so much earlier and planning it ahead of time and telling us the dates and everything else. I honestly just feel like it's a little bit like I would expect 9 or 10 months ahead of time, not 14 months ahead of time. I just feel like it's a little messed up.
I'm actually surprised that it's so late in the convention season because, this year it was in March. And I think because Disney's already confirmed that they're going to be releasing their Star Wars movies in December from now on.
Right.
I think the perfect thing to do with that is to start having the celebration every year in May. Right. Which is when they used to release the movies. So it kind of takes that place of being in George Lucas's birth month, the tradition of having Star Wars in May, that sort of thing. That would make much more sense to me.
Yeah. Well, let's let go of our bitterness. We'll figure out a way to get there if we're going to go. I personally don't know if I could pull it off either way. Although as much as I would like to. I'm taking time off in September already for another event. So I don't know. It's hit or miss. So, let's move on to something. I don't know if this is more positive, but, Carrie Fisher. Okay. Obviously Princess Leia herself. So there's a lot of advocates out there trying to get her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Okay. I guess the policy is if the person is passed, it has to be, 5 years, Will, I think?
I honestly don't know. This is an interesting idea, and I should really research this because the funny thing about the Walk of Fame is that you basically just have to have the money and the influence to get it. It's not like it's an award.
Okay, but posthumously, though, in order for her to do it, I think it has to be 5 years after they pass. And I heard this on the Ralph Report because there was somebody who was cosplaying down by the, Chinese theater or whatever that realized that, oh my God, she doesn't even have one. And so what she's been doing, and she's been advocating for getting Carrie a star earlier. Right? And so what she's doing is she's picketing out there with a sign that says, "Where's Carrie Fisher?" And people, and she joked with Ralph, and she's like, people were like, "She's dead." Well, duh, she's dead, but where is she here? She's not on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And so, she's trying to make this happen before the 2021, but again, she's got a petition going and all this stuff, and I'm sure you can find this stuff online, and if I can between now and the time I post this, I'll put some in the show notes, but, it's interesting because she, I think, deserved it before she passed.
Oh, she absolutely deserved, I mean, not only just for, being Carrie Fisher, a great actress. I mean, she was in all the Star Wars and Blues Brothers and When Harry Met Sally and all that stuff. But as a screenwriter, she wrote Postcards from the Edge. As an author,
right?
She did some great TV. There's so many different things that she. I mean, her stage show Wishful Drinking is just phenomenal,
right?
And at this point, because there's so many stars on the Walk of Fame that they're having to double them up, put some side by side.
Right.
And it's a definite missed opportunity if they don't put her next to her mom.
Well,
so there's,
that's what I was going to ask. Okay. So her mom is down there. Okay.
Yeah. Her mom is Debbie Reynolds, and she's, honestly, I don't know for sure. I'm going to look that up really quick. So keep talking. I'm setting my mic down.
And that might be a way to go about it too, is, get her down there and her mom on there, because I mean, here's the thing though. I love the fact that this woman is advocating for Carrie Fisher and trying to get her star on there. But again, this 5-year thing, I think is just one way of them saying, well, we don't want to deal with it right now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for someone like Carrie Fisher, they should be like, okay, well, we can break that if we have the money and everything else. So I don't know. We'll follow this story as it unfolds for sure.
And if anybody is curious, Debbie Reynolds does have a star on the Walk of Fame already, and it is down at 77001 Hollywood Boulevard between Orange and Sycamore. If you want to go and see it, looks like it's between the CVS and Marshalls.
Awesome. So
right across the street from the Hollywood Highland Hotel and Hostel.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. It'd be nice to put them next to each other. I mean, they were so close. and pass so close together. I don't know. I think it's important.
Yeah, and honestly, just to honor Carrie Fisher's writing here really quick, I really want all of our listeners to go out and watch Postcards from the Edge right now. It's a movie she wrote about her relationship with her mom, which has been tempestuous at best. And it's Meryl Streep playing Carrie Fisher and Shirley MacLaine playing Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, I love it.
And it is phenomenal. She was nominated for an Oscar for the screenplay. Meryl Streep was nominated for acting. It's a great, great movie. So go see it.
Nice, man. All right. On to film news for Star Wars, since we are talking about Star Wars right now, I think.
Yeah, we are.
Episode 9 news. Rise of Skywalker. This is huge. And again, most of what is going to come after this is going to be Comic-Con related, sort of in some way.
Exactly.
Here and there. But Rise of Skywalker won't be at Comic-Con in 2019. People were speculating they were going to come into Hall H. That's just, it's not going to happen, but it makes sense considering D23 is happening and all that. So I don't know.
Okay. This is going to be funny coming from me because if anything, I'm a Disney apologist, right?
You are.
I'm a huge Disney fan, and you'll find out a little bit more about that at Podcast Corner. But I'm actually very mad at the Disney Corporation about how they're handling this. Will they or won't they with all of their properties at Comic-Con, right? Because they want to support their own convention at D23. They want to make that the premier place to find all of the Star Wars news, Marvel news, all that stuff. And we're going to get a Marvel article later on in the Comic-Con section. But I want them to either just say, okay, just say, yes, we're going to pull most of our stuff out of Comic-Con and we're doing most major announcements at D23.
Right.
We're going to release smaller properties and do some stuff at Comic-Con. But right now they're basically just saying, okay, well, we're leaving Comic-Con and we're not doing anything there. But then they're saying, okay, well, we kind of want to come back and dip our toe in it. I'm like, just either don't say anything and just go where you want to go and don't have to don't feel like you have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
Or just make it clear. Don't hem and haw about it. Just say what you want to say.
Right. And this, and later in the show, I'm going to talk more about some Hall H stuff that's going to be kind of gnarly. John, you got any thoughts on this? Cause I know exactly what I'm going to ask you in the next section for this next question.
No, you're fine. So I will tell you as a fan, of course, I always want them to be at everything, right? But I can tell you as a business person, if I've spent the money on this property and I own it, I'm going to save the big guns for my own events, if that's what's going to help draw more attention to it. I get what Will's saying, hey, tell us, if it's smaller things, they're going to be at certain locations or whatever. I think, as a marketing team, they're probably not thinking that way. They're just thinking, okay, what's going to give us the biggest draw and what's the most bang for our buck that we're going to get for sending something to Comic-Con or not sending it to Comic-Con. And that's just, thinking just dollars and cents from kind of that top down view. But, as a fan, I'm totally with Will. It's like, man, I just want to know what's going on. So,
we all want to know, but here's the other thing to think about too, is the fact that, yes, it's your own event. But if you think about it, Comic-Con, it's filled with Star Wars fans and all that. But how many people are actually going to be able to go to that thing? The internet exists, right? It's going to be out on the internet regardless. So we've got 6,600 people, I think, that can fit into Hall H. And that's obviously where it would have to be if they were going to do a panel, right? So you got those people. And then, you extrapolate that from there, but at the same time, you have your own event coming. And I think you're right, John. I think you have your own event coming. You have online, and you can also kind of prep people a little bit via social media before D23 and really prime people and get them ready to go, rather than, were you at Comic-Con in Hall H? No. Okay. You know what I mean? And how long will it take for that stuff to come out on the internet? You know what I mean? Because there's some embargo times, I think, that are wrapped up in
actually,
that.
I just had this idea, and actually I think this works from a marketing standpoint too, is Disney prides itself on being all about the experience, right? Being able to walk and talk the experience. What I would do is anything that's esoteric, like anything that's far reaching, widespread, something you don't need to actually be able to touch and feel and taste, like, say, the announcement of Phase 4. I would save that for Comic-Con because you don't actually need footage is nice, but it's about the people. Right. So having the stars show up, which is a lot easier at an event like Comic-Con, whereas D23, save that for the stuff of like, you've got the Mandalorian coming out. Right. I mean, what I would do is like, that's where you have the footage release. That's where you have much more intimate talks with the people. That's, or the Cassian Andor video or, anything like that. Or with Marvel, anything like, say you want to announce, especially because you can announce stuff that's like I don't know where I'm going with this, but like anything far reaching, right? That you don't necessarily need anything that they need to hold in their hands. Announce that at Comic-Con.
So I don't know. We'll see how this all goes. There will be some Star Wars stuff happening. I have something later in the show notes. Star Wars always has a presence at Comic-Con. Whether they're in Hall H or not, I think hardly matters. But and again, we are what do you call it? We're leading up to the last of the Skywalker saga. So,
exactly.
So speaking of that, I threw this in here just for a discussion topic. We don't have to actually talk about this if you guys don't want to, but there's an article I didn't read because I didn't want to read it because I already have strong feelings about it. And me and Mr. Skeen have talked about this, quite a bit, I think. And there's an article in Nerdist, called, Why Kylo Ren Should Be Redeemed in Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. I didn't read the article. I just for fun scrolled to the comments though on this article and people were like, I'm sold. That's great. Okay. I'm over that. I'm not even going to read the comments. So here's the thing, guys. I'm going to defer to you. You both know how I feel about this. I'm going to start with Mr. Skeen. We've talked about this, dude. If you want to talk about this, cool. If not, I don't really care. But what do you think of a potential Kylo Ren redemption in Rise of Skywalker?
I'm not for it. I'll be honest with you. Every now and then, it's okay to just have somebody turn dark and be the villain, and that and it's kind of funny that you're bringing this up because I'm like on the last 2 chapters of Plagueis right now.
Yeah, that's a great
Plagueis is awesome.
And if you look, at the whole redemption thing, Sidious wasn't redeemed in any sort of way.
Nope.
As far as I know, Plagueis wasn't either. So, why all of a sudden, starting with Vader, do we have to, switch it back over and somebody be redeemed at the end? Why can't it just be the way it's always been with almost all of the Sith Lords or the Sith, and they die Sith, and that's that?
Or just villains. I mean,
yeah, just villains. We don't always have to have the kind of that anti-hero or, while it makes for good storytelling at times, every now and then I still want my villain to wear the black hat and be dead at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Own it. Be the villain. I'm with you.
The first thing is, and I don't want to piss the shippers off here, but I will boycott if Reylo actually ends up happening.
I hear you. So, okay, so that's a different conversation, sir.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
so,
we don't have to have the
talking about Kylo Ren being redeemed. I don't want to talk about them getting together right now. Maybe that's for next time. Let's talk about Kylo Ren being redeemed because I'm with Skeen because I've talked about this before multiple times, but, what do you think?
I don't want him redeemed. I hate the emo boy aspect of it that he already has. And if he does go full light side again, then it's just that whole arc of the emo boy growing up, right? Which I just hate the cheesiness of that factor. On the other hand, if he does get redeemed, especially with the whole reintroduction of Sidious being in this one because of the cackling laugh, I don't know how that means he's actually going to be reintroduced into this. But if it comes back that he dies in redemption, killing Sidious or a clone of Sidious or whatever it is, a la his grandfather, that just cheapens the story of Vader dying. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So I really hope they don't do it that way. I had a sick and twisted thought in my head when Skeen talked about Sidious not being redeemed. How funny would it be if Sidious gets redeemed killing Kylo?
Killing Kylo. That'd be hilarious. And I'm with you guys. I mean, we're all saying the same thing. I personally, and I think you bring up a good point, Will, with Sidious coming back. What does that look like? Like, my fear, this just popped in my head, and tell me if I'm off base. My fear that with Sidious back in the picture, it's gonna come to light that it's been Sidious the whole time, why Kylo is evil, and then once he realizes that, then he's gonna go back and then he's gonna fight him, and then we get the then we get Kylo killing, Sidious
right.
or whatever.
If that happens, then that's just gonna make even more people mad at JJ and how he's cripping the entire story of the trilogy.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But at the same time, look, I'm all about story. I'm a writer. I love a good story. If it serves the story, if it works, if you pull it off, if JJ can convince me that Kylo should be redeemed in one movie, cool. But there's nothing except that little inkling when they fought together for a moment, and then he realized they were on different sides. There's nothing that has hinted to me that he's wanted anything else except to be the next Darth Vader. With the exception, of course, of the redemption aspect of it, right? He's trying to keep the legacy of the actual Darth Vader going, not the Anakin Skywalker, right?
Right. Okay. I just had this incredible story idea. Okay. And I actually think this would be a brilliant story concept for them to do it. Sidious hasn't actually been... Okay, well, I will say Sidious might have been evil the entire time.
Might?
Palpatine wasn't always evil. I'm not saying that he became evil, but the Palpatine, when he was in the Palpatine character...
I was going to say, you realize you're talking about the same person, right?
No, I understand. But Palpatine was all about conflict.
True.
He profited from all the conflict, whether it be in power gain or whatever. But Palpatine was all about creating conflict, and whether it meant acting good, even though he was evil, a la being the senator who was humbly taking on the chancellorship, right? What if the entire time Kylo's not his pawn, but Rey is his pawn, and he's been guiding her to create the conflict?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, but by doing this, the only way Kylo can actually get redeemed is by killing Rey.
No, that's
the pawn
fine
of the conflict.
I don't care about that. Here's the thing. I just don't want Kylo to be like the next Vader where he wakes up. It's like, oh my God, I love my, I don't know. What are they? I mean, how are they related or they're not related? I don't really care. But the point is like, I just don't want Kylo to wake up one day and be like, oh, I was so wrong. Sorry, darn. You know what I mean? Like, I can't deal with that. If it works for the story, I'm happy to see the story you just said. I'm happy to see what I thought about. I'm happy to see whatever JJ comes up with. But what I don't want is at the end to have a on the deathbed moment, just like Vader. Blah, blah. Like, there has to be something else to leave us with after 9 movies. You know what I'm saying? There has to be something more than, well, the bad guy got redeemed again and all is well. Because that's not life. Like, there's some people that are just assholes. And
that's why Empire is one of the most beloved ones, because it ends on a downer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's my point, is like, I just, sometimes the bad guys win because they're jerks and they did it a shitty way. And that's just the way it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I brought this up and now I'm getting heated about it. Now I'm all mad. This makes me so mad. This Kylo thing, dude. And don't get me wrong. Kylo Ren, I think, up there with one of my favorite characters from the new trilogy. Period. Because I like the conflict, I like what's going on, I usually latch on, and Vader's one of my favorites, of course, as well. But I just don't want, it made sense for Vader's story to be redeemed at the end. Because he has a son and all this stuff is happening. I don't see a Kylo version of that will make sense story-wise. Not that would make me happy, but that would make sense story-wise. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, talking about all-time villains and stuff, I'm not right on the board there with Kylo. I think there's much better villains. A la the Paul Bettany character from Solo comes to mind.
Yeah.
As head of Black Sun. I think Darth Maul, especially since they brought him back for Solo, I think they really need to delve into him somewhere, because that's just a wasted use of a great
What if
villain.
Maul comes back in this?
What was that?
What if Maul comes back in 9?
I would love that. I think it's a big time jump from
a jump
from Solo.
But they can't bring Maul back because he died in the.
He died. He died in
Rebels.
Rebels.
Oh,
You're
right. He did die in Rebels.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
I'm joking.
But there's a lot of story to delve into with Maul between the Solo time frame and the Rebels time frame.
All right, guys. So out of that, because I can't. We could do that all day. I don't want to do that anymore.
Really quick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not about Kylo.
Okay.
What if Rian Johnson's new trilogy? Because you remember he brought in the aspect of I think he brought. I don't know, but what if his trilogy is going to be about the Black Sun trilogy?
I would love
with Maul. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Okay, go ahead.
And you're right, dude. There's so much that they could do. And we've got the Mandalorian coming with Disney Plus. We've got the Rogue One prequel, which I'm segueing into right now. As far as TV, I'm kind of doing a thing right now because I've got a bunch of Disney stuff in the usual roundup with Disney parks and stuff. So I'm just kind of I'm kind of melding them a little bit. But
Gotcha.
Disney Plus, Star Wars, Cassian Andor. Sorry, let me just say this like a normal human person. The prequel series should be filming soon, and that is the Rogue One prequel, which I'm pretty stoked about. It doesn't sound like it's going to be at launch with Disney Plus, obviously, because that's happening in a few months. But The Mandalorian is supposed to be on day one, as well as some other movies like Captain Marvel and everything else, and of course
sure
everything else that Disney's put out there. So
yeah, I'm sure they're doing it like DC Universe did, where Doom Patrol was at launch and Swamp Thing came later.
Exactly.
So it'll be like Mandalorian at launch and Cassian Andor later.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about this. I really like that character, and I'd like to see the seedy underbelly of what's going on in Star Wars land, and that makes me happy. So, any thoughts on anything Disney Plus is in regards to Rogue One, Mr. Skeen?
Nope, just wait for everything to come out.
I know. We'd be stupid not to get Disney Plus at $7. It's like, well,
oh no,
it's
a given.
I can get less content for, more money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, the next thing, and I glossed over E3 fully in this episode because E3 is come and gone. The one thing I am going to put out there in the show notes, if you didn't see it during E3, is Jedi Fallen Order. And they just released a couple days ago the full E3 demo. It's like 26 minutes. The gameplay looks sick, and fun as hell. Check this out as soon as you can. Come out with message us and we'll talk about it maybe on the next episode. Did either of you guys see any of the gameplay from E3 for this?
I saw a little bit of it, and coming from somebody who never actually played KOTOR 2, and all my Star Wars gaming basically comes from the mobile aspect or from SWTOR, I'm on board for playing this as a solo player.
Well, it's a single player RPG. It looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think, Skeen?
No, I'm definitely on board with it. It says Star Wars on it, so I was going to buy it anyways. But
well, yeah, but I mean, what I liked is just some of the ways to dispatch people. There was some, force pulling onto a lightsaber and just some really cool stuff. I remember I was watching just the short version of it when E3 was happening. I was showing my wife, and she was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool." If she's half impressed, then it's good.
Yeah, the whole force pulling onto a lightsaber actually reminded me of the first time I read the Jedi Academy trilogy when Luke is, of course, building up his new Jedi Academy, and he recruits that one guy who is kind of like the bad guy to begin with, but he's the first person to think about putting two crystals in a lightsaber, so you can actually extend the length of your saber. And so he does it in a fight with somebody, and he does it where he's like holding the lightsaber out and extends the length right into somebody. And I'm like, the first time I read that is what I felt like when the first time I saw this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. My wife just sent me a text, which she never usually does, but she's reading in the other room, and she disagrees with my Kylo Ren assessment. So I'm encouraging her to come on the podcast, which she never will. So she'll have to be mad that I disagree with her. All right, guys. So let's see, merchandise. So Comic-Con exclusives. Whew. This is a good one. I put a link in the show notes. There's a ton of stuff on here. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I mean, there's the t-shirts and stuff alone are amazing, obviously. But there's some Funko Pops. There's a really nice Boba Fett and Yoda one that's super glossy and green chrome is what they're calling them, which are really cool. But again, this is our Comic-Con overlap. Check out the show notes. If you're in Comic-Con, there's pint glasses. I mean, there's a ton of exclusives. So definitely check that out. I threw that in the show notes for folks, to check out. So
cool. See, now Disney's being really smart because they're going to, have merch there for Star Wars, but nothing else. So they'll take the money and run.
All the merch. That's important.
Well, I will say, Disney's always done that. LucasArts has always done that really well. Because it's not really Star Wars that has the presence at Comic-Con. It's Lucas. Right. It's the, Del Rey table. It's the LucasArts, all
their
the gear
booth
that you can
is
buy.
huge. Their booth is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I cut you off.
No, that's it.
Okay. Let's see. My wife said, blah, 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 blah. Oh, she would like the movie better. Huh. And she's also said no to coming on the podcast. Okay. So I guess her opinion is, somewhere out there. I love my wife. Don't get me wrong. Okay. So do you want to add something to Podcast Corner? I feel like we're running long on time for poor Skeen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm in it.
You
Podcast Corner for me. Are you guys listening to Inside Star Wars from Wondery?
No, I haven't.
Oh, no, I hadn't.
What is this?
Okay, that's something I'm putting on my playlist now. I didn't actually know that because I like Wondery, so I hadn't done that. But no, this is actually
someone type it in there and put a link at some point.
Yeah, this is like just 60 seconds really quick because I had a false start with starting a new podcast that I was going to do called Daily Dose of Disney. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that later in the year as a podcast format, but I'm on all over social media and I'm doing multiple posts per day. And I just want to say it's been a lot of fun. And so if you get a chance to follow, go to all your social medias and it's Daily Disney 1923 on, Pinterest or not Pinterest, but, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. But I will be putting together some swag for Daily Dose of Disney with some prizes and stuff that I will be giving away at the PUCT Cantina.
Oh, kick ass.
So
dude.
if you like Disney, I will give a little hint on what some of it is if you were a card collector at any point in the 90s and you might want some of the theatrical release full-length sets in a binder, some of those might be available.
Damn, dude. You're going all out. I appreciate you and I love your posts. I don't like every single one of them because I realized I just haven't and I feel bad about that. It's not like I don't see them. I scroll fast and I don't like everything because I don't spend a lot of time scrolling, but I appreciate, you putting that stuff out there and the Daily Dose stuff is great. Like I love seeing, what happened in Disney history because I love that kind of stuff. And I watch a ton of, Disney documentaries and, and podcasts talking about, rides that failed and all that kind of stuff. And I love that kind of stuff. So, definitely give, my co-host, my ever elusive co-host, some love out there on the social medias.
Yeah, and it has been a lot of fun to do the daily stuff. Plus, I was able to do some live streaming stuff from Galaxy's Edge when I was there. So I'll talk about that.
We saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I will say my entire family enjoyed watching you drink.
Oh God, dude!
The one you didn't like, everybody was laughing at our dinner table. So so you know,
I was dying.
That's funny.
I was dying. All right. All right. So, are we in usual roundup time now? Are we done with that?
We are.
All right, cool.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero.
Well, you're not.
In the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
All All right, so let's get to our last section of the show, and this is going to be all over the place. We've got Disney park stuff happening, and of course a bunch of Comic-Con stuff at the end, and some of Will's film reviews. Skeen's probably looking at the thing, yawning, trying to figure out if you can hang. I'm joking, buddy. I love the fact that you're even bearing with us right now. I love it. I knew this would run long because Will's here, but we're gonna power through. It'll all go quickly.
Ouch,
William. It'll all go quickly. Because remember, some of us have to edit this fucking thing. Language. Yeah. By the way,
got that right in there.
I'll be honest with you.
I was gonna say Will was just happy somebody associated long with his name, but
wow, Skeen. So we've taken the explicit thing off of this, and we're going. We're going.
Can somebody help me with the knife in my back?
I love it. Oh, that was good, Skeen. Good one. That goes to the record books. All right. So discussion topic. First thing I like to acknowledge. I don't like to acknowledge, but we have to acknowledge some folks who have passed. There's been a bunch of people who have passed since last time we recorded. I mean, obviously you know. But this just happened today or yesterday. Max Wright passed away at age 75. He was the dad on Alf. And
it's such a bummer. I mean, I was never a huge Alf fan, but I loved Max Wright in it. He's one of those people. I mean, like when Alf was on, he was in his like late 30s, early 40s, but he looked like he was 60, which didn't fit in with the family, but he always was. I loved him. He was great.
He always looked old, and I actually loved Alf, and this is why this jumped out at me. I loved Alf. I was one of my family. We always watched family TV in the evening, and Alf was on the roster, obviously, and we love that kind of stuff. But he was in a ton of stuff: Murphy Brown, Quantum Leap, Cheers, Drew Carey's Show, Mad About You. He's been around forever. One of those guys, when you see his face, you're just like, oh, I like this guy, and so I had to acknowledge him just because, absolutely. I had to, because I saw it pop up, and I don't know. Did you ever watch Alf, John?
I did. And I was going to make a terrible joke and say now they'll never finish that last episode.
Oh, damn it. But I know. There's been talk of that a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're rebringing it back. They're relaunching it.
Yeah, they were supposed to, but I didn't know if I wonder what happens now that he's gone. Anyway. Okay, so on to more positive stuff, because I love actors that are really good at acting. I didn't know anywhere else to put this. If you're an Orphan Black fan, Tatiana Maslany will reprise her Orphan Black role in an audio series. So basically, and I don't think we finished the very last few episodes of last season. I don't know why, but it just flew off our radar. But basically, the series is going to continue, but it's going to be in an audio series. And she's going to come back and play all her roles. It's going to be a 10-part audiobook series that picks up where the show left off. So I love everything about this because the show is amazing and I love it. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love Tatiana Maslany, and it's actually gets stuck in my craw that she finished second to Felicity Jones for the lead role in Rogue One. Because I think Felicity Jones was great, but I think Maslany would have knocked it out of the park.
And we saw her in Comic-Con 2 years ago.
No, it was
all that
4
Orphan
years
Black
ago.
stuff. 3 years ago.
4 years ago.
Oh, time makes fools of us all.
No, sorry, 3 years. It was because it was when we were with Darren DePaul.
Yes, 3 years ago. Yes, with Darren DePaul, exactly. And she's amazing. So, did you ever watch Orphan Black, John?
Nope, I have not. But now I'm kind of interested in it.
It's a great
Oh, it's
series.
great, and she's amazing in it.
When one woman can convince you, she's like 10 people.
Yeah, I think she finished at 10, 11 different characters.
It's phenomenal. Nice. Phenomenal. So check that out. All right. We're going to spend a little time in this section, and I'm going to gloss through the last couple parts, and then we're going to finish up with some Comic-Con stuff, okay? So we're going to spend a little time here because somebody was actually in a theme park recently, outside of myself. I was there in April, but Star Wars Land was not open yet. We are in the Walk in the Park section, and Will was at Galaxy's Edge. Were you not, sir?
I was. I really, really enjoyed it. I went with my mom, which was interesting because it made me slow down my pace. Mm-hmm. So I was able to I took a lot of pictures and stuff, and you can see that all up on Daily Dose of Disney. But I went through at a really interesting time because I was there, I think day 5 that it was open. Actually, wait, see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, day 6. I was there day 6. So during the first week, which is very cool that I can say I was there the first week.
Yeah,
but
you can say something none of us will be able to say.
Exactly.
So that's amazing, dude. And I wish I could have done it, but there's no way I could have done it.
Trust me, as you were posting, I was hate liking you.
Although I did ship
you.
something to Marshall. Why don't you tell people what I sent you?
Oh, dude, you sent me, and actually,
I've got one of these coming for you too. I haven't mailed it yet, John, but I've got one for you.
If you were on the stream, I'm trying to keep it. I'm actually going to bag and board it. This is if you're on the stream and you can see it, this is the daily dealie with the map and stuff and all the events, but it's all Galaxy's Edge. It's super glossy.
Oh, neat.
And beautiful, and it's got a whole section about Galaxy's Edge in it. And I put it in a copy of a signed copy I ordered of a novel from one of my favorite authors, and both those things are sitting here in mint condition, ready to be loved at some point.
The reason I grabbed a handful of them each time I went through the turnstiles. I've got a bunch of them. Well, I don't say a bunch. I think I'd probably have about 8 or 9 left. Because I shipped one to Marshall. I sent one to SWTOR because she asked me to pick up some actual merchandise for her while I was there, and so I sent her that along with it.
Nice.
And then I sent one to Skywalker Eve, who just started her own new podcast, but she does great work. She was actually she was one of the podcasters up on the stage at Celebrations last year in Chicago.
Nice. Did you say you sent it to SWTOR?
Yeah, I sent one to SWTOR as well.
Good.
But I've got it. I'm keeping one for John, keeping one for Jesse for helping out on the shirt design, but then I'll have a few that are going to be available for people at the PUCT Cantina.
Nice.
But the main reason I grabbed them is Disney usually does a new guide every week, right? Because stuff changes, events happen, stuff like that. So the fact that I got it from the first week of release, I think this one they probably held for a few weeks, but it's the first official Disneyland guide that you get at the turnstile that has the Galaxy's Edge on the map.
It's awesome.
So that's the reason why I grabbed it. Plus, it was a very cool half glossy, half matte cover, which was very cool.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
So anyway, so there's that. But I went at an interesting time because only half the land was open. Because I went when it was before Rise of the Resistance opened up, which opened today's the 27th, 3 days ago.
It's not open yet. The Rise of the Resistance?
Yeah, I thought it's July 24th.
Yeah, it's not open yet.
Yeah, so it's not open until next month. So right now it's only open half the park. So it was really kind of interesting. They have 3 entrances into the land, and they actually did a poor job of this because it's kind of by happenstance about how you check in somewhere else in the park earlier in the day. But my mom was handicapped, and she's usually in a wheelchair, but she decided to walk that day, and she had a walker with her. But they sent us to the absolute worst entrance for people that have walkers. They sent us to the Critter Country entrance, which is literally, once you get into the park, it's about a 1/4 mile walk, almost all uphill, just to get to where the land stuff that was open is open.
Well, because that side of the entrance, or that side of the land is where Rise of the Resistance and the Resistance base is supposed to be, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And none of that was there yet.
Right.
I mean, the ride area was there, and you could actually see I took a couple pictures of the queue entrance of Rise of the Resistance before it actually is Rise of the Resistance, which is cool. But it just took a while for somebody in a walker to walk through that. So that was, I will say that, in talking about the first article you put here about guests are stealing and selling Disneyland items, there is and I did notice this while I was there, they're not training them really well right now.
Right.
There's just not really bad crowd control. There was one point at the very end of our night after I tasted the blue and green milks, and we were, actually before we had tasted the blue and green milks, we were actually in line for a photo opportunity with a TIE Interceptor.
Oh,
there's
wow.
a big, huge TIE Interceptor at the edge of the land. And the cool thing is a lot of these things, like, it looks very similar to like the plane that you see in Condor Flats in California Adventure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they like come alive with sounds and movement, which is very cool. And so they have a a X-Wing over at the Resistance side. We were at the Imp side, and they had the TIE Interceptor. And we were in this line, and then all of a sudden, about 300 people come storming into the land because it was the hour changeover. And they're all being led to the Cantina, which is the one thing that was open that I didn't go into because it would have taken up my entire time that I was in the land in line just to get into the Cantina.
Right.
And so I decided to do everything else instead of going to the Cantina. But the cast member that brought them directly in front of the photo opportunity.
Oh.
And then by the time they got to the end of the Cantina line, it was all blocked and you couldn't even do any of the photo opportunities. So it's like little things like that.
Yeah.
The cast and crew were not trained yet.
Well, they'll figure that stuff out. I think the stealing thing was funny because speaking of Cantina, apparently a bunch of the sporks that were in the Cantina were showing up on eBay and some other stuff.
I will tell you that we were eating our dinner because we were at that restaurant, and the spork is really kind of interesting, and it was kind of weird using it.
Yeah.
I had the pot roast, which was bantha roast, by the way, and my mom had this spare rib sort of thing, and it was my mom who actually had the idea. She held it up and said, "We could easily steal these, and nobody would know." And I'm like, "True," and I was tempted,
but then you're that guy.
But we're not those people, and so we didn't steal them. But okay, I will say, I didn't even post this on my Daily Dose of Disney thing.
Oh god,
we're sitting there, and who walks by? But if you've seen the documentary Comic-Con 4 about it's like the 6 different people that go to Comic-Con. And it was filmed a few years ago. And one of the people that they follow is this guy who proposes to his girlfriend during Kevin Smith's Hall H panel.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
She says yes. They end up getting married later and everything.
Yeah.
They walked by.
No, are you serious?
And he looked right at me and we made eye contact. And I'm like, "Are you that guy?" And
You're that guy.
And he's like, "You recognize me from that." And we didn't even say anything, but we had this like cool little eye contact thing. It was like, "Yeah, I know who you are."
Oh, that's funny.
So it was really funny. But yeah, those sporks are so easily to steal.
Well, and I think they went to, from what I heard on another podcast, they've gone to plasticware for a bit and they got to figure some stuff out. But I mean, all that stuff aside, just give us, a minute or so, just overall immersion, how it looks, just how cool was it? Should we all wait until Rise of Resistance happens? I mean, what are you thinking?
Okay. The slogan the tagline I've been using is it's overwhelming but underperforming. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's totally immersive. You're walking through it. Stormtroopers are walking by in their voices saying "freeze" to kids, and it's really kind of cool. There's this whole section by a bathroom where you see tortured droids on a wall. It's totally immersive, like you're actually in a backwater planet.
Right.
I love it. It's going to be even more so once Rise of Resistance and everything opens up. But like I said, it's not well trained yet. There's things that just need to be cleaned up. They kind of need to work on the green and blue milk formulas, because they're kind of more like fruit smoothies. And I will say, as I was walking out of the park with them, because we actually walked out of the land and I ended up doing my videos over at the, one of the restaurants in Fantasyland. As I was walking out of the area, the cast members looked at us and said, "I hear they taste better if you mix them together." So even the cast members know they're not really that good tasting. Okay. So I think they're going to have to work on that a little bit. But I will say it's definitely worth going to the park. I would wait till after Rise of Resistance opens up.
Well, and that was my plan anyway. Right now, my family and my parents and stuff, we're all thinking about going in January or as of right now. But what's interesting though too is that we did what is it? The Harry Potter land at Universal, and I tried the butterbeer. I'm not a fan. Honestly, that was super sweet and gross to me. But, there was a frozen version and a different version or whatever. I don't know. If there's not booze in it, I can't imagine I'm going to spend money on it. Only in that I don't want a $12 fruit smoothie to say I drank blue milk. Does that make sense?
That's although I think they're $8, but still,
well,
that's besides the point.
I guessed, but I mean,
I will say that the one thing I did like about going early in this controlled environment was that I hear now the line for the Millennium Falcon ride is like 4.5 hours.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
When my mom and I went, we got on in 20 minutes.
See, that's the huge difference of going early, I think, with the reservation system. And
exactly. So that was very cool. I really did enjoy the ride. The Millennium Falcon ride was really enjoyable. I will say, because you fit 6 people in each experience, and it's interactive.
Right.
So if you have a chance, go with 6 people that you know, and you're going to have a blast.
Yeah, that sounds great, actually.
But we got stuck with this little kid who was
the pilot,
about 9 years old.
Yeah.
And he was just circling around through the single rider entrance. And in the hour and a half he was in the park, he did about 20 routes.
Wow.
And he came in and just started ordering everybody around as the pilot and everything. And he was making it not fun.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of ignored him and did our own thing, and it was fun anyways.
Well, what's funny too is I've heard that too. It's there were 2 6-year-olds as pilots, and it didn't last too long. And that would be a real big bummer if that was your only experience doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this kind of goes back to where the cast isn't trained all that well. Is the entire queue is you getting into the Millennium Falcon, right?
Right.
And then the staging area before you go into the actual ride, you're actually in the lounge area of the Millennium Falcon where the chess table is.
Yeah, I love that.
And all that stuff. But you're in an entire orderly line going into this. They give you different colors for the group that you're in. But once you're in this area, there's no organization.
Oh,
and so you have 8 groups of 6 all mixed into this room. And then they call out a color, and you're supposed to try to get across the room in 10 seconds.
Oh, interesting.
And it's that's really badly organized.
Okay. Well, I think they'll figure all that stuff out. But speaking of Galaxy's Edge is, they're doing their virtual queue system, and it's open to the public as of yesterday, I want to say, as of recording this, June 26th. Does that make sense?
And that is actually a really good idea because it's basically like a fast pass for the land.
Exactly. And they're doing, it's a reservation system, but you do it virtually, and then they gave you a time slot to go in. And I've heard they're very strict about the time slot, which is good. I'm not super stoked. I'm torn about their restrictions on the cantina. You can't just spend all day in the cantina because they got to rotate you out of there, and it makes sense. And apparently they have a $25,000 droid experience you can purchase.
What? Yeah, there's some expensive stuff.
And 3 people have already bought. I mean, I know for a fact it's $200 to build a lightsaber. It's $100 roughly to build a droid. And there's a $25,000 R2-D2 experience, and 3 people have already bought it. That's insane.
Even at $100 to build those droids in that one 3-hour time that I was in that land, there were hundreds of those boxes walking around.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
People are dropping $100 easy on those things.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I know people who have set money aside because they want to get the lightsaber and they want to do the experience, and I love it, and I have no doubt I will do what I didn't do at the Harry Potter land and do the experience where I'm dropping $300 on a wand or whatever. My kids got wands anyway, but there's the show experience and there's the walking in the store and buying it experience. And I think that's important. I think these people are really putting their money where they want to be, and if you want to buy a $25,000 R2 unit, read about it in our show notes. It's insane. And the last thing I'm going to say about Disney parks is
$25,000 R2-D2 unit. One of Kenny Baker's kids better be in that thing,
right? There should be a live human man inside there that will operate it for me when I'm not there.
Kenny Baker's corpse should be in that thing.
Oh God, that's dark. I love it. Also, speaking of Disney, last thing on parks is Marvel Land is coming. The permits are bought. And it's a big deal. And I have a link in the show notes to that. And it's pretty crazy. The expansions that are happening. Obviously it started with, Mission Breakout and everything else. And they're just going to continue from there, especially now that we have a little bit of lull in the phases too. So
yeah, they had a Marvel night not too long ago. While you and I were there, it was kind of cool. You could actually see a whole bunch of construction walls up, and it said Stark Industries on it, which is very cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
I'm guessing what they're going to do is that they've already made deals to buy the 2 hotels that are on the backside on the southwest east side of the property, which are the Alpine Inn and the Desert Suites. God, it's sad that I knew those off the top of my head.
Yep, you did.
And then there's also a 7-Eleven on that corner.
Oh, not 7-Eleven. I know that 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they've already purchased the land, and they're letting those people operate until the permits got, because there's no reason they would go for the permits if they hadn't already purchased that land.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I'm guessing those hotels and the 7-Eleven are going to be not long for this earth, and then they're just going to expand the property out that way and up Harbor Boulevard, and then they're just going to kind of slice off the whole Marvel area for that California Adventure.
Yeah, it makes sense, honestly. I mean,
they need to turn one of those hotels into the Avengers Tower.
Yes. See? Why don't they hire us?
They need some geeks, don't they?
I mean, hire a geek, for God's sake. I'm writing that down. Hire a geek. I'm trying to figure out a name for the show. Anyway, continue. All right, so what do we got next?
We're into Crossing the Streams. So
nice.
We have the Disney Plus, I guess, is beginning production on a new movie called Flora and Ulysses.
Yeah, it's based off a kid's book, actually. I looked into this earlier. This is happening pretty quick for Disney Plus, and it's a story of a 10-year-old avid comic book lover, etc. It's a pretty cool little story. And it's an adaptation of the award-winning children's book by Kate DiCamillo, however you want to say that. Directed by Lena Khan, and it looks like it was received well by fans and financed via crowdfunding. So that's good. Cool. Awesome, dude. So that's exciting. Anything new to Disney Plus that the kids are going to like, my radar's up on that. Real quick, Netflix wise, since we're still in the streaming area, there's a trailer for Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which is amazing. I'm not going to say anything more about that. You just got to watch it.
Well, I will just say I'm actually surprised it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's going to be
Dark
sick.
Crystal's owned by Jim Henson, which is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't held for Disney Plus.
Yeah, but there has to be something else going on there, right? I mean, right?
Yeah, it might have started before the whole Disney Plus thing.
Right,
that's true.
Yeah, and that's true. Oops, I got sound playing. Sorry. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. I love the Dark Crystal. I think it's gross and creepy and weird, and I love it. So I hope they do all of those things in the next one. Speaking of Netflix, The Office is officially leaving Netflix in 2021, and guess what, guys? John?
What?
How do you think people feel about this?
I'm guessing that they're having a backlash like they did with Friends.
Well, you're not John, but John, how do you think? How do you feel?
I don't know how people are feeling about it, but I'm going to guess upset because it's the internet.
Yes, the internet is upset. God.
Yes,
bless it.
Which is, I never, it's a new trend on the internet where
Brand
people
new.
get upset about things. Yes.
As of this story, The Office leaving Netflix, the internet's upset. No, it's ridiculous. But I get it. The Office is a beloved deal. It's leaving in 2021. And people are up in arms. There's already petitions. Don't get me started. It's madness.
So they're going to bitch about it for 2 years.
Yeah. There's a lot of time to complain about this. And speaking of complaining, no, I'm just kidding. Orange is the New Black. Season 7, the trailer came out for that. I think we didn't finish season 6, I want to say. But I love Orange is the New Black. It's a cool series. And I'm definitely going to check out season 7. So
it is. I'm stuck at the beginning of season 4, so I needed to catch up on it. But this has actually been announced as the final season.
Yeah. And continue it, dude. Homegirl who is in, my other favorite show, Russian Doll. Oh my God. Have you guys watched Russian Doll yet? Either of you?
I have not. It's on my list, but Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, she's so good, dude. She's so good. But she's also obviously in Orange is the New Black, but, Russian Doll is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You gotta watch that show. It's so good.
Will do.
Anyway, moving on. Last thing on streaming, a showrunner has been announced for the Star Trek Picard series, which is coming to CBS All Access. And it's Michael Chabon. I'm going to say it that way.
Cool.
He did Wonder Boy, Spider-Man 2, Amazing Adventures of Kevlar and Clay, and a bunch of other stuff. So that's cool. I like that. I love that Patrick Stewart's coming back to Star Trek. It makes me so happy.
I know,
dude.
right?
You have no
How
idea
cool is
how happy. I'm a huge fan of Next Generation, and I love Jean-Luc Picard. And anytime I see him in a thing, like granted, he played Professor X, but he was still Jean-Luc Picard, just in a wheelchair. So, for me. Anyway. So I think we skip the what are we watching because we're running long. But real quick, there is a weird fun thing happening with Good Omens, which is on Amazon Prime. And I love
this.
I did this for humor purposes because Good Omens, my wife and I watched it. It's amazing. It's, Neil
Gaiman?
It's Neil Gaiman. It's, Tennant, David Tennant. And it's an amazing show. Has to do with God and heaven, hell, and everything. It's so good. And it's on Amazon Prime. But religious groups were super upset because they're like, well, God is supposed to be this way and it can't be a woman and it can't be this. But then they're really mad at Netflix. And so they made a petition aimed at Netflix. But the series was on Amazon Prime. So it's the funniest thing in the world. It's like they couldn't even do enough research about the thing they were mad about to get the right freaking streaming service. I just love it.
Did you hear what Amazon Prime's response was?
Yeah, I love it.
They came out and said, okay, well, in retaliation, they're going to cancel Stranger Things.
Yeah, they said if you cancel Stranger Things, we'll cancel Bad Omens or Good Omens. So it's so good, dude. I love it. That kind of stuff makes me happy, dude. Like if you're gonna be mad about a thing, get your research right. Figure out at least aim the hate at the right thing. You know what I mean? Anyway. All right, where are we at? So real reviews. We are at real reviews. So Kingsman prequel is happening. It's coming in 2020, which I'm pretty excited about because I love the Kingsman. Kingsman.
Well, what's also, we talked about this, I think the last episode before I left, is that they're actually also they're going to be filming Kingsman 3 consecutively.
Oh, neat.
So they're going straight from the King's Man, which does not star Taron Egerton,
right?
Because he's been busy doing Rocket Man, which I hear is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's so good.
But he's coming back for Kingsman 3.
Perfect.
So we'll see how that goes. It's been 6.5 months since I've been here, so I'm just going to do quick thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways on all the movies I've seen in theaters since then. Captain Marvel, thumbs sideways.
Oh, okay.
Thumbs sideways because on second viewing, not as much. The 90s jokes don't play as well.
Okay.
Avengers Endgame, big thumbs up, cried half the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Dark Phoenix, thumbs down, bad writing, Sophie Turner's amazing. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, huge thumbs up. Aladdin, moderate thumbs up. Late Night, great thumbs up. Mindy Kaling, Emma Thompson, John Lithgow, all amazing. John Wick 3, good thumbs up. Halle Berry could have done better. Oh. Long Shot, big thumbs up. Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron have amazing chemistry, which you would not think. And Men in Black International, big thumbs up. Tessa Thompson is amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those movies, except for the Marvel ones. My kids went and saw Aladdin, and I didn't. I'm trying to get through the John Wick series so I can watch John Wick 3 when it comes out, because I really love Keanu Reeves.
Okay, I will say the world building in the John Wick universe is amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking forward to most, actually, I think. And Dark Phoenix, I've heard nothing good about it, so that makes sense. Captain Marvel, we'll have to talk about it at some point. And I'm with you as a kind of a neutral.
It was a thumbs up the first time I saw it because I liked it. I liked the whole Goose and Nick Cage thing, but the 90s jokes just didn't play too well the second time I played.
Which one's Long Shot?
Long Shot is the one where Charlize Theron plays the Secretary of State and Seth Rogen is the speechwriter.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, cool.
Late Night is the one that Mindy Kaling writes about Emma Thompson being like a late night show host for 20 years. And then they want to cancel her, and she's brought in as a female writer. Phenomenal. Incredibly written. Really good movie.
All right, cool, man. Well, it's good to have you back. You caught us up on the movies you're watching. Let's see. So, speaking of movies, Endgame is back in theaters, and they're doing a re-release kind of thing where they're adding some content.
For #1.
Well, they got to do it, and they're so close. I mean, I get it. I'm not mad at them for doing it, and they are adding some additional things. I think some post-credit stuff and a couple things within the film. I have a link in the show notes. I don't know 100% what they're adding or what they're not, but Avengers is coming back for it. Yeah, they're literally like $55 million away from Avatar.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that they're going to catch Star Wars for the #1 domestic, but they'll catch Avatar for #1 international.
Cool. So, all right, let's get into our last section and get Mr. Skeen to bed. Okay, so here we go. San Diego Comic-Con.
I am fine.
I know you are, but I'm always concerned because it's 10 o'clock my time. I got to go to the bathroom and it's late, and I couldn't imagine if it was 1 a.m. and I had to do any of those things. So here we are. So San Diego Comic-Con. That's all this segment is going to be about, and it's going to be about 5 minutes at the most. Are you guys ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. So, Will, are you in or out?
About 70-30 at this point. Cross your fingers.
Kick ass. All right. So, panels. Marvel Studios is coming back to Hall H after skipping last year, which is exciting. I'm not sure what they're going to bring to it quite yet. There's a bunch of stuff. There's some speculation. We've got Spider-Man Far From Home and Eternals and some other stuff happening. So we'll see what they come up with.
The only thing that makes sense is a Phase 4 announcement.
Yeah, and some Phase 4 announcement. Absolutely. Kevin Smith is coming back to Hall H Saturday night, which I'm excited about. He's pimping Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So, expect that for sure. Game of Thrones is coming back to Hall H this year, which means the day that this happens, that means there's no scenario where I walk into Hall H like I've done the last 2 years. So I don't think they said what day it's happening. But I do have an announcement on who's coming.
Well, they're going to have to be showing some footage from the prequel series.
It's possible. Oh, shoot. I got it. A panel is going to be held in Hall H 5:30 on Friday, July 19th. Okay. That's
they're taking the last slot.
Yeah. Right in the middle of our cantina. I wasn't going to go in the first place, but it's fine. Here's who's coming. There's 10 of us. Ready? Grey Worm, Samwell, Jaime Lannister, Davos Seaworth, Missandei, Sir Jorah Mormont, Varys, Arya Stark, Bran Stark, excuse me, and the showrunners. So that's who's coming. And that's who's going to be
definitely not about prequels.
What's that?
That's definitely not about prequels then.
Right. And I think it's going to be more of a, hey, this is our victory lap kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Warner Brothers is not coming this year to Hall H or at all. I mean, they'll be there at all. They'll be there, but they're not coming to Hall H. And Avengers in-game writers are coming to Hall H. That should be interesting. And that's going to make whenever day they're doing this a poop show. So on Thursday, I'm going to see if they say what day. Yep. It's going to be Friday. Oh God. Don't go to Hall H on Friday. That's insane. They're going to do Marvel and HBO that day. That's crazy, dude. Okay. So anyway, whatever. It's happening. Avengers Endgame, the writers in Hall H are going to be doing a panel. So
they thought about having a bigger hall.
Yeah, well,
besides just the one.
Good luck getting the 45,000 people in line into a 6,500 person venue, but here we are.
Yeah, I think the only way that they're going to expand is if they re-up their contract, because I think they're only re-upped until next year. So
yeah, I think so. It'll fluctuate a bit coming forward.
Yeah.
So that's Hall H, dude. That's going to be nuts. I'll have more stuff the next time we record right before Comic-Con because, there's other announcements coming forward and I didn't list in here, but, exclusive fun stuff. The online exclusive portal open for San Diego Comic-Con. So what you need to do, if you have a badge for San Diego Comic-Con, you go into your, member ID, you look into exclusives, and you basically put a quantity value on how much you want a thing. You get a certain amount of points to put towards stuff. You can put your interest in everything, but you have to put a point value towards it. So, it's interesting. There's a lot of stuff and everything's every day. You get a certain amount of points every day. So let's say you have 26 points for Friday and you want to do like 5 different things. You put points towards each one of those things. That's how it works. And then they'll let you know what you didn't get into, which is probably going to be all of it, which is sad.
Yep.
That was my joke because I've never gotten a thing. So here we are.
Yeah, I didn't. Last year at Comic-Con I didn't get picked for anything, and then at WonderCon I didn't get picked for anything.
Yeah, it's a lottery. But I wanted to highlight this because we did mention Darren DePaul earlier in the show, and although we haven't spoken with him in a couple years, he's near and dear to our hearts. When he was really in the very beginning of his now very big career, he does voiceover. He's been on Nerdist. He's been on Geek and Sundry. He's done a bunch of stuff. But his Overwatch character is getting a Comic-Con exclusive. His character's name is Reinhardt. And we've talked to him about this before, and it's super, super cool. But what I really liked about, what he said about it was the fact that he said and Will, this will sound familiar. He said, the first thing I did when I made, my crazy bi-coastal life 6 years ago was attend San Diego Comic-Con. I thought it would last 6 months in LA. I thought it would last 6 months in LA because it's so hard to break into the business. And now there is this. What an amazing journey. Whether he remembers us or not, I feel like we were part of that journey. I was sitting next to him at Geek and Sundry before he even worked for them, like watching panels with him. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. I remember, when Geek and Sundry took over, Petco Park, you ran into him because you left and you ran into him in the street and said, Will's in there. And he came in and he watched like 5 or 6 panels with me. Yeah. Actually we watched Preacher. He's a huge fan of Preacher. And so we watched the Preacher panel together and he was loving it. Yeah. He actually came to the very first PUCT Cantina.
He did. He was at the first PUCT Cantina. So, big shout out to Darren DePaul, who I know doesn't listen to this, but, I'm going to reach out to him again. I always do every year and say, hey, if you're around, come by and say hi. Cause, he connected with us and Jess and everybody else who was at PUCT, and, but really good guy, really, really cool. I'm so stoked for him. And by the gods, man, he has his own exclusive. That's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one last thing, just there's a ton of offsite stuff, but Amazon once again is having their huge offsite event this year. They're focusing on The Expanse, Carnival Row, and The Boys. Last year it was Jack Ryan. I don't remember the other.
Jack Ryan was amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember the other properties they highlighted last year, but the Amazon offset event is sick, and you don't have to have a badge for it. It's super cool, so definitely check that out, and we'll let you know when we go because I'm gonna go. I promise.
Word.
Anything else, guys?
Nothing. For me.
I think I've talked enough.
We've all talked enough. Well, here we are.
The talking has been completed.
So, thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on all your favorite social medias, Facebook, Spotify, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Find us on your favorite podcatchers. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will is at Imo Griggs, and John is John R. Skeen. Please like us, share us, and support the show. We're on patreon.com/usualpodcast and of course audibletrial.com/usualpodcast. I've got a ton of audiobooks that I could recommend, so hit me up on the Twitter and I'll definitely let you know what to get on Audible. That's my thing. If I start listing things, there's too many things.
Pre-order the new Thrawn book. They released the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive cover.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That usually happens. So John, dude, you've been here. You're amazing. Now what we need to do is get you to Comic-Con next year.
I know. So no kid injuries, no braces, none of that stuff, and it should happen.
Yeah, so. No extra expenses, and we'll get your ass to Comic-Con, right?
Exactly.
All right, boys. We got anything else to say? Or are we getting out of here?
Steve says thanks in the chat, and Steve, hopefully made your drive to LA a lot more fun.
Oh, I hope so. Skeen, you got anything?
Nope. I just know it was. I had fun.
Oh, did you?
Oh my God! I'm forgetting my tagline.
I was so hoping that you would say it first. By the gods, I hope everybody else had a fun, and we'll see you all next week.
Fail.
Got you.